It's your legal bestie, Attorney Simone. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Listen, I'm going to let you guys know I'm going to give y'all the best that I got, but I am tired, okay? I ran away from America, so I'm out the country. So you'll have to bear with me for however this internet situation works. It is a first world country. I'm in Barbados today, recording from the Paradise Point Hotel. And here's what we got on the docket, y'all. And it's not going to be strictly political. We got some silly, fun stuff in there, too, okay? We've got the Jasmine Crockett, James Tellerico, whole controversy with the Texas Senate race. We've got ways to fight ICE legally. I just want to talk legally. What are your options? And just address some things that have not really been made clear, it seems like, through the media. We're also going to talk about another political candidate you may not know as much about. That is Pastor Pickle Booty. Pastor Pickle Booty is Pastor Jamal Brown, who is running for governor of Georgia. And he has just been caught in a pickle, literally. Literally. Okay. And then, of course, and we're also going to talk about Glorilla, the rapper. It's in a little family feud. Hey there, baby dolls mom. Good to see you guys. All right. So, first off, we're going to keep it light. So, Glorilla's sister brother. Okay. This is Glorilla's sister brother right here that we have in this photo. And the sister brother is mad, y'all. The sister brother says Glorilla needs to run her money. Now it says the sister brother is named Scarface Woods. This is her. It says Scarface Woods went on social media claiming she's been estranged from her sister Glorilla since her rise to fame. She says they share the same parents and grew up with 10 siblings, but alleges she has received no acknowledgement since Glow's success. Now, I'm going to have to start here and say it might be the face tattoos, but we'll go continue. She also claims their mother is still working at FedEx despite Glow being a millionaire, and says she personally had to give her mom $1,800 toward a $2,400 rent payment after allegedly being blocked. I don't know who she was blocked from. I guess blocked from Glorilla. She felt like Glorilla should have put this money up instead of her. Scarface Woods says the family still lives in Memphis and pushed back on the idea that they're being, quote, protected, adding that she is tired of staying quiet, and she hinted that she might go live to say more. Now, this is exactly what Scarface said. She says, I'll really go live and expose y'all favorite rapper. Same mom, same dad, 10 siblings. Y'all think, y'all y'all think she this upright. Okay. Oh, girl, bless her heart. Y'all think she's this upright A person when she's really not. When she really not ain't F with you since she got on. And I'm constantly getting acknowledgement for being her sister, and she ain't F with us at all. It says Gloria Woods, call my bluff. It's been 4 years. Why the media haven't seen your siblings? And don't say because you protecting us, because we're still in Memphis. It's because you talk about our struggle and you don't F with us. Nah, let's clock it, she says. So the question is, do y'all feel that Glorilla should be responsible for paying her family's bills? Now, a lot of people don't understand when you get a music contract, you receive an advance, and your early contracts are straight up advances, meaning that money that you're given is what you're supposed to use to make all your music videos, pay your producers, pay editors, pay for marketing, blah, blah, blah. And then they're able to recoup against it. In other words, that's how people like Tony Braxton have to file for bankruptcy despite selling all of these records. So I do feel like a lot of times family doesn't understand she's not. She's not a millionaire yet. She's not a millionaire yet. I actually remember sitting around with some music executives talking about her original deal. I'm not going to talk about what is in that. I don't have permission to do that, but I'm going to tell you, that's right. Abita said, I see why Glorilla don't mess with them. They sound entitled. Now, starting with the sister, here's what I don't like. Instead of saying and they said like she needed $100 or whatever, I want to hear about what you offered to do for her in exchange for money that she actually needs done, that she declined. Okay, because this um Mr. Sister Brother over here looks like she could fight real good. She looks like she could fight a girl and a boy at the same time and win. She looks very strong. That's a handsome young lady there. And I'd say, have you offered, for example, to be Glow's security? Have you offered to be an assistant? Now, first of all, of course, you have to have the skill set. I don't know that she'd have that skill set because of the difficulties she's having with her grammar and that curriculum there. But you shouldn't get an allowance and get paid. If I got to get up and go to work, y'all, my siblings, my 10 siblings have to get up and go to work. Okay. Everybody got to do something. Now it's different. Like how Beyonce had her sister background dancing. Beyonce had the mama doing the dresses, the this, the that. If I got to go to work, we all got to go to work. It's no free ride. The other thing that I find interesting is Glow tells the story of how she had humble beginnings, of how she grew up with the 10 siblings, and how they all slept on air mattress, that she didn't get a mattress until recently, as in like within the last 2 to 3 years. That says to me, the family has struggled financially all, majority of her life, but also I would be curious to know, what is the excuse now? What is, not even excuse, I'm not going to say excuse, but I would say, what's the reason now? I ask that because when you're raising 10 kids, I understand your reason is raising 10 kids is expensive. Now, of course, we're going to say, don't keep having kids if you can't afford them. Hello. Don't keep having kids if you got to use your older kids to watch your younger kids. Because the husband, the daddy, supposed to be same mama, same daddy. The daddy don't want to do, or y'all can't, bring it all together. But more importantly, the kids are now out of the house and grown. So I would be curious to know why mom and dad, we're supposed to still be together, why mom and dad are having difficulty just for the basics. I'm just talking about the basics because she talked about rent money. I'd also wonder, baby, why y'all still renting in Memphis? After you done been in Memphis for 5 generations. Somebody ought to own a trap house by this point at some point. Again, somebody says, why do they think she's obligated to take care of them? Look, I don't know that either. Even Tokyo Tony gets up and goes to the Amazon workhouse, okay? Warehouse. Even Tokyo Tony got to get up and go to work. And her daughter was out there selling pussy, okay? Black China sold $280 million worth of coochie. Check the facts. She said that herself on OnlyFans, this, that, and the third. And listen, I think also part of it is once you create entitlement, it's impossible to make it end. And I just strongly feel like her family doesn't realize she ain't got it yet. But even if she did, it looked like you don't make good choices. Look at these tattoos on your face. Look at your face, lady boy. Hold on. I need y'all to see this lady boy face. Look at her face. Now, there's a very pretty girl or boy, whichever one she wants to be. They're using sister, so I'm going to assume she's not trans. She's just a handsome lady. But this handsome lady here, y'all, we talking about Glorilla's sister brother. That Glorilla's sister brother, it looked like she is probably in and out of jail or prison. It looked like you know what? That's another skill set she could use. Why don't you ask your sister to hold the drugs for her? Because Glorilla just caught a charge. It was just from some marijuana, but still, be useful. If you want an allowance, offer me a skill set I need satisfied. Okay? Let me know where you're joining from if you're watching. Somebody said, so I'm gonna disagree on that. I am going to disagree on that. All right, next up, we're gonna talk a little bit, real briefly, about this article that pissed me off about ICE. And actually, it was a comment. So we're going to add this comment. I'm going to play this clip here. This is from Dallas Morning News.
Kind of release him into that building and not be able to walk in with him.
Now, let me refresh this. Oh, shoot. Let's see if I can get this. Here. One moment. Give me one quick second. Let me see if I can pull this back up. If not... Here we go. I'm gonna pull it. This one just really annoyed the dog doo-doo crap out of me. All right, we're gonna share this one. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. All right, I'm going to share my screen again. Here we are. Should be this first one. All right, Dallas Morning News. Here we are.
Just kind of release them into that building and not.
So this is a story of a McKinney school teacher. It's about her husband and her wife. They met on vacation. It says they met in March of 2024 in Mexico. She was learning salsa dancing there. They did everything right. They filed the paperwork for him to get citizenship due to marriage. It's now been almost 2 years. He is actually from Venezuela. Those from Venezuela had TPS, which is temporary protected status that they garnered from the government. But I want to use this example to share some facts about ICE to just give you context. Don't worry, I'm not going to play a bunch of videos of ICE beating our butts because I think we're all real sick and tired of seeing that and the accompanying feeling of hopelessness that it can bring. All right.
I'll be able to walk in with him.
So he's going to his regular check-in, like once a year you get a check-in. So she's responding to the fact that he had a check-in appointment. He is not a criminal. And this is what happened.
But I was afraid that he wouldn't walk back out.
He was detained by ICE January 15th. He was awaiting his green card as the husband of a U.S. citizen
and I had Raphael's phone in my hand, and I saw a notification come across that his check-in was received and his next check-in was scheduled for January of 2027. And I felt elated. I thought, oh my God, he's got his next year's check-in. He just got the email. He's going to come back out. And he didn't walk back out. And then I was waiting. And I remember I just was lifting my hands, asking for God to just do a miracle and for him to walk out that door. And then our attorney walked out and she looked at me and she just shook her head. And that's when I knew he had been detained.
Okay. So, and then it follows up and it says Rafael, who's from Venezuela and who the federal government determined in 2023 had a credible fear of returning to his country, fear meaning fear of imminent death. And he was detained and basically he obtained an asylum. Basically he has an asylum case that's pending. Here's what I want to be very clear about. Okay. Because then this person, and I think she blocked me. So it's probably not going to show on the screen. This lady blocked me. I'm going to read it to you because the bitch blocked me. Raggedy bitch. Hold on. Let me see if I can add it. This raggedy bitch. There was a commenter on this below and she aggravated me. And I said, you know what? This is a good time for me to use this to just explain to people the difference between asylum and illegals. Specifically, here's what I want you to make sure that you know, and feel free to clarify this when people say asylum seekers are not illegal. They did not come here illegally. The process to seek asylum is you have to step foot in the United States. That has been the process forever and ever and ever until Trump came into office. Trump is now trying to change the law and he has not gone through the proper processes to do that. This administration, he's trying to say, if you want to do asylum, you can't do it here. You need to go to one of these other countries, Ecuador, this and that. That's not how it works. How the process works. And I also want to shout out attorney J.D. Walker. He has one of the best immigration firms in the nation. I'm going to drop their link below if you know anyone struggling with immigration issues. How it works with asylum, you come through any of the border entryways. So you can come through on the plane. You can come through literally at the border at Mexico when you come through with Border Patrol. If you've ever watched any of those TV shows where they've got the border at Tijuana, they've got them El Paso, they got those different places. You can come to any of those checkpoints and all you have to say is, I am seeking asylum. They then put your information in the system. They ask you about the credible fear of danger that you have. You have to give them the facts. They give you a number, and then you proceed through the U.S. process, which is due process, to determine whether or not you are a legitimate candidate for asylum. That is not illegal. That is not The same as people swimming across the Rio Grande Valley or people otherwise, using what's called a coyote to come into America. So I want to be clear on that. But then secondly, hold on. Oh, I just had it. This raggedy bitch, okay, made this comment on the video that we just said. And I just want to clarify it for you. She says, listen, I'm Mexican. Now a U.S. citizen, and all my family is a U.S. citizen. But someone doesn't just get detained for absolutely no reason on a, quote, normal check-in. Dallas News, you are forgetting to tell us why he was detained. Dear wife, you missed the part to tell us why he was detained. No, she didn't, you stupid bitch. She told you it was an annual check-in. It is a regular check-in that you have when you have asylum status, or you have applied as a married person trying to get status through that, where you check in, they make sure they let you know where you are in the process, and they let you know if there's any missing information, you stupid. I'll continue. Then she says, did y'all know marriage is the fastest, easiest way to get your papers? My sister-in-law got them in no time. I know plenty of people who got their legal documents by marrying a U.S. citizen. Bitch, you sound like you are encouraging him to commit a crime, you fucking fool. And then she says, who got it by marrying a U.S. citizen? This guy is married to this woman. Why was he detained? Because he has a criminal record. Why do they always fail to tell the truth? Now, first of all, when they say it be your own people, they're talking about witches like her. It be your own. This is a Mexican lady, okay? Not even a Tex-Mex. This is a Mexican who is trying to throw this other Hispanic person under the bus. Let me tell you, first of all, she says, we're going to debunk the myths to stupid ass Jazzy Fit. Now, I believe Jazzy Fit actually works for ICE. That's part of why she's all riled up here. See, Jazzy Fit, it has been alleged that she works for ICE. Jazzy, you don't work for ICE, let me know and I can correct that in the caption below. But Miss Jazzy Fit, number one, she says, you don't get detained unless otherwise. No, we've already told you this was a standard check-in. You always get these. Secondly, she says, he could have just done it by marriage. No, bitch, that part's wrong too. What happens is, however you start your process, depending on what your lawyer advises, is you may want to continue in that process. Now, one thing was that Venezuela had the asylum. Venezuelans have temporary protected status, and he went through asylum. He can do that. What happens is if you switch to marriage as your reason, it starts the process all over. And if he was under the impression that they were almost towards the end of approving asylum, me as a lawyer that works with an immigration law firm, I personally would have said, don't do it. If you're almost done, we're going to leave it as is. Okay, you stupid bitch. All right. So my response was, I wanted to say, hey ho, but I didn't. I said, you are a liar. As an attorney, I can 100% confirm that people without criminal records are getting detained for no reason. They're going to their standard appointments with no criminal records. They don't even have parking tickets, and they are getting deported. How do I know? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to read the rest of this paragraph, and then I'm going to tell you. It says, that's the whole issue. I know this man doesn't have a criminal record because I pulled it up. Okay? I did my research before I talk shit. I know this man doesn't have a criminal record. Next time, try Google before you get on the internet and lie. Now I'm about to drag you with my 100,000 followers. I'm sorry, guys. She made me mad. Somebody said that pick me left a whole dissertation of foolishness. Yes, Jazzy. If she's not already with ICE, she's the ones that be pow-powing these people in their face, like Alex Peretti, who is pow-powed by not one but two, because they feel so self-righteous, they feel above the law, and they don't know nothing. The other thing I want to be clear about is when it comes to ICE, many don't realize ICE only has federal jurisdiction. So I see these examples of ICE pulling people over and saying things like, oh, you didn't, your tail light is out. Oh, you didn't signal when you turn. ICE can't do that. ICE can't do a damn thing about that. ICE can confirm if you are legal, and they're not supposed to arbitrarily do that, but they can confirm your legality, but they cannot arrest you for any state crime. If the offense they're talking about is only a crime in the state, it is not a federal offense, like failing to use your turn signal or any of the driving offenses, you can't be arrested by them for that. Also, when it comes to ICE and how they've been beating us upside the head and these different things, I want you to remember there are both state and federal offenses that they have convicted. I want you to think about, remember George Floyd. With George Floyd, remember Derek Chauvin, that was the cop that unalived him. That cop was charged in the state and sentenced, and then also charged federally for a federal civil rights violation. Both of them with an F, okay? So what that means is at any point, any of the district attorneys in the United States can decide, even in Minnesota, can say, we want to charge these people who unalived Alex Peretti or Renee Good. The problem, though, that they're facing right now in Minnesota is that the government has destroyed the evidence. And the government wouldn't even let them go in there and pick up the evidence. However, we still have video. Another thing that is concerned is the governor, Tim Walz, and others are concerned that by going and arresting an ICE officer, it could create a civil war. Because we already know these people are not trained properly. And the last thing they want is for one of their officers to be pow-powed by one of these rogue ICE officers. But if you notice, and I'm sorry, I don't have the clip up right now, but if you Google Philadelphia said, try us if you want. The district attorney, which is an older white Jewish man, I believe he's Jewish, I could be incorrect, in Philly, said, come here with that bullshit. Come here with that bull. If you come here and you use excessive force, we will arrest you. And he said that about ICE. They will arrest ICE officers. They will charge officers. So you see where they are not. They're not in Philly. They're not in Philly. And lastly, I want to talk about why Minnesota. They're in Minnesota, to be clear, because it is a swing state. They want to use this and act like there's all of this unrest so that the president can ultimately say he needs to use the Insurrection Act to either postpone and not have the midterms. That is the ultimate goal. The Insurrection Act would also allow him to stay in office longer than his 4-year term. That is the only act. Remember, with January 6th, that's what he was trying to use as well. He wanted to create an insurrection and then use that. And he kept trying to get Pence and others to say, oh, we need to use the Insurrection Act. And therefore, that would have, the president thought that would have prevented him from having to stop being president and for Biden to come in. So I just want to hip you to how they're planning to do this. So when you see the game, you can say, and you can begin to think about, how do you protect yourself? How do you protect your vote? And lastly, the other thing that they're doing is they're starting to remove you from the rolls. So the government has now, let me pull this down. The government has now demanded from blue states their complete voting rolls. Now, if you recall as well, recently in Georgia, the government went into Georgia because Georgia was swing for Trump. Previously, he lost Georgia, remember, to Biden. But with Georgia, they didn't just take copies of the voter rolls, they took the originals. And Georgia was already having the problem that thousands of people were showing up to vote and they weren't listed anymore. Here's how it works. If you vote in the primary, they know you are either Democrat or Republican because you can only vote in the Democratic primary or Republican primary. After you vote in the primary, they will then do their best to delete Democratic voters from the voting registries just before the election, so that when Dems go to vote, they can't swing the vote in favor of Democratic candidates. Why? Because it's way easier to prevent you from ever voting than to change your vote. They can't change. They could change your. I mean, Elon Musk and the Russians can do whatever. However, I just want you to follow me. Let me know if that makes sense. If you're following that argument, I want you to be very clear. It's way easier to swing the election by making it so that you can't vote in the first place rather than changing your vote. And so the best thing for you to do is keep a copy of your voting card, make sure that you know where that is, and then you need to double check that you are registered to vote because they are arbitrary. Literally, the Trump administration said they want to be able to go in each state and tell them which voters they want to be scrapped from the rolls. They want to work together. They use wording that says collaborate and work together with states to ensure that the voting rolls are correct. Correct and accurate means the voting rolls are filled with those who will vote for him and other Republican candidates. Okay. Yes, someone said voting. Here's the problem. Voting independent, there is no, I don't know if there's an independent primary. In the part of the challenge, well, even if there is, no, I don't think there is a independent primary. But part of the challenge would be people who are really big on voting and want to pick their candidate for Democratic office. So, for example, I'm in Texas. We've got the Jasmine Crockett versus James Talarico. And forgive me for mispronouncing it. We've got the two of them running for Senate. People want their vote to count and they want to be able to cast a vote for their candidate of choice. So that's how come it's not quite as simple, but I do really appreciate the suggestion as not voting in the primary or voting independent, because there are some states where these primaries really matter. And then in cities like Houston and Dallas, where it traditionally has leaned dramatically more Democratic, the Democratic primary candidate is the one who wins that seat. So for judges, at this point, literally, you have a whole bunch of Republican judges who moved over to the Democratic Party in Harris County, in Dallas County, just so they can keep their seat or win their seat. Now, I don't know why these stupid ass Dems let these Republicans, Wade, Roe v. Wade, the Wade family has notoriously been racist for years. Try me if you want to, Wade family. Try me if you want to, because I will pull some fucking receipts. And we have a whole video on y'all. They got this white lady who was married to one of the Wades, and she was a Republican, and she just could just skedaddle on over so she can keep her seat. Yeah, girl, I'm talking about you. Have a nice day. If you'd like to come on this channel and defend yourself, I will happily post whatever you'd like to say, but those people are evil. You can look at how Wade Sr., which is again the same Roe v. Wade and the Wade family, they were judges. They incarcerated quite a few. There were quite a few Black defendants who were exonerated. They set up Black defendants. I mean, all kind of horrible, horrible things. It says Louisiana is now a closed primary state after all these years. Very interesting. But I say that to say, this is the game. Know it when you see it so that you can strategize and protect your vote. Now, speaking of, we got two more main things. That we got on the docket. Okay. Which is, so whether you're in Texas or not, some people are really excited about Jasmine Crockett possibly running for Texas State Senate against James Talarico. I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of the candidates. I think we know mostly about Jasmine. Some people have said that she is the Marjorie Taylor Greene of the Democratic Party. I actually think that's kind of an insult. She is a mover and a shaker, and she's a disruptor, so to speak, within the Democratic Party. But any other analogy to Marjorie Taylor Greene is insulting, because Marjorie has a high school diploma, maybe, no college degree, definitely doesn't have a doctorate degree. Jasmine is educated in all of those fronts. Okay. And so far she's had one term where she's been in Congress, and she's also had one term where she was a Texas state, is either state rep. Yes. State rep. Okay. Then we've got James Talarico, who's a Texas state senator. He has been endorsed by Obama. Let me be clear. Obama endorsed him as a great candidate. Obama did not endorse him in the Senate race against Jasmine. That is important. But I don't know that much about them, but I want to. So here's what I'd like to invite viewers to do. If possible, what I would love to have is next week to have 2 or 3 people who are supporting each candidate come on and let us know why you support that candidate. We'll have it kind of debate style, lighthearted, but debate, so that we can know more about each candidate. Because the truth of the matter is we all got things going on, and a lot of people don't have the time to delve into it and know the facts, as well as some of the people who are already very passionate about each of their candidates that they want, whether it's Jasmine or whether it's James. Whoever wants to do that, you can email me at attorneysimone@gmail.com and put debate or put Texas Senate in the subject line. I would love to do that. I will make that a separate video. Also, listen, if you are going to come on to, talk about, your candidate and why you feel that they're the best candidate because for Texas, we got to vote by March 3rd. Okay. So we got to get that together soon. And I am going back to Africa because I'm sick of this. I'll be back when they got some sense in America. Okay. So I need this quick because I got to early vote, but I want to be clear. When you come up to support either candidate, here's what I really want to focus on. Who can win the state? Who can flip that Texas Senate seat from Republican to Democrat? I don't care who you think is the most qualified, because the most qualified person won't necessarily win the vote. Okay. Because we got to get these white people, these white evangelicals on the Republican side to move over. If we're going to flip it from Republican to Democratic, period. I don't want to care about who you went to brunch with, who you met at your mama's church, who is the best pastor. I don't care. I want to know who you think can win the state and why. And the second question that I have been curious about is Jasmine did not run for her congressional seat. And I'll say that congressional seat is my parents' neighborhood. It was the neighborhood I grew up. And I know that demographic like the back of my hand is majority Black. That is a congressional seat that before redistricting, she would have had that seat for the rest of her life. Hands down, no question. The Republicans redistrict because they didn't want that to happen. Okay. My question, but now her district, I'm going to share this with you. My question is, now her district is more purple. So I'm going to put this on the screen and share this with you. Again, whoever your favorite is, this isn't about favorites. I have a legitimate question. I am ignorant to this fact, and I want help with understanding the best arguments in the logic, which is this. My question is, my understanding is that she did not rerun for the seat because there was a question as to whether she could win it. However, from the demographics that I'm seeing, this is ChatGPT, they could be wrong. I feel like if she couldn't win that seat, what makes her team feel confident they're going to win the state? There has to be a reason. She researched this. I'm saying I just don't know it. And for anyone that does know it. And then I did pull up Talrico's seat is more, the demographic is more consistent with the demographic that has to be one to flip the Senate. Does that make sense to you? So I guess what I'm saying is I am a finance major. I'm a numbers person. So what I'm trying to understand is, to me, it would just seem off the bat, the person who could win Texas would be the person who has already shown that they can win a demographic that is more close to what Texas is. You see what I'm saying? All right. All right. And before I get to the next part of this topic, which is going to be this lighthearted case that we got to end on because we got to lighten it up, I want to make sure I answer. Thrift the Runway has a really good question. She says, what can someone do if ICE is trying to detain you, even if they shouldn't be, or are illegal? I'm guessing simply reciting that you won't make them release you. Okay, let me try that again. What can someone do if ICE is trying to detain you, even if you shouldn't be detained, or if you are legal? I'm hoping if you're legal, all you can do is show them your passport. Because what they're doing now, and that's a really good question, and all you can do is show them your passport and say, I am legal. If there's anyone videotaping, call out your first name and your date of birth so that someone can locate your family and let them and notify them that you have been detained by ICE. Also, you want to stay as calm as possible, because you better believe there are a plethora of excessive force lawsuits and unlawful arrest lawsuits that are being pursued against ICE. for hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you want to set up everything so that you can sue the pants off these mofos. Because unless and until that happens, they're not going to modify their behavior. So assuming that you're legal, show your passport, stay calm, reiterate to them that you are legal citizen. And secondly, they keep talking about, oh, I have an administrative warrant. That's not a thing. That you either have a judicial warrant signed by a judge or you don't have a fucking warrant. It's not a warrant if it's not signed by a judge. So you want to say, okay, if I'm under arrest, do you have a judicial warrant signed by a judge? Show me the signature. And they'll say, well, I have an administrative. That is a bold-faced lie. And it has been found, judges are finding that they are lying to people and saying that they have judicial warrants and don't. When lawyers then go to court and say, hey, they busted in the house and arrested this person without a warrant, judges are now releasing that person. It is an unlawful arrest. And that's even if this person is, quote, illegal. I want to let you know that's an unlawful arrest and it will not stand. So I hope that helped. Yes. Assuming, yeah. And also let's say that you are. So here's what happens. Once you are here and like, if you have let's say you're here on a tourist visa, but then you meet someone, you want to marry them. And so now you have applied for a spousal visa. Technically, under the law, you're a visa overstay of the tourist visa, but you're here on legal status because you are awaiting simply the due process procedure of them either saying, yes, you can stay, or no, you can't as a person's spouse. So in that case, what that actually means is literally everyone who isn't a U.S. citizen at some point is considered illegal because you're waiting for the final papers. That's why we have a problem. We as Americans have a problem with what they're doing because every person's illegal until you get your paperwork that says you have a green card. And don't even get me started on how they're arresting people with green cards. But if that makes sense to you, whatever type of visa, number one, if it's asylum or if it's a spousal visa, if it's a work visa, until you have your green card, if you are anywhere in that process, you're not illegal. You are here legally going through the process. I want you to think of it this way. Think of it as someone who's filed for divorce and they're waiting for the judge to sign the divorce order. Technically, they are still married. However, they've done everything they were supposed to do and are simply waiting for the courts to do their process. All right. So on that note, I want to show you this little coon. I want to show this coon clip for you. We're going to talk about Pastor Pickle Booty. Okay. We're going to end on Pastor Pickle Booty. Hold on one second. Jasmine did the statistics and the numbers don't lie. Of what? Here, are you saying these are the statistics of her winning the primary, winning the election, or flipping the state? Let me know in the chat because that is the question. And then the other question was, I don't know why the party didn't want her to run initially because she's not, my understanding is she was not who they wanted to run for. But I don't know if that's because they thought that she was going to rerun for her seat. So it was like she came into the race and then it was like, okay, we got to regroup here. But this is all what I want to talk about in our debate session so that we can have all the information in one video and everyone can get better educated. Thank you so much. Make it rain. Primary and seat. So she's saying Jasmine did the research and the research supported that she can both win the primary and the seat. Okay. All right. Thanks for sharing that. I still have trouble believing that if Kamala couldn't win, she could win because I feel like they're even more racist in Texas than the nation as a whole. But I haven't looked at the numbers. I need to look at whatever numbers are available. All right. Okay. So last but not least, in the state of Alabama, the great state of Alabama, there is a gentleman, which is Jamal Brown. He is now being called Pastor Pickle Booty. Pastor Pickle Booty. Here's a clip. I believe this is him. Hold on. But I have more clips of him. I need you to know this backstory. Because we've got to laugh at some
White House.
Hold on.
We back in here. We waiting on President Donald J. Trump?
Because a vision softly creeping left its seeds
That looks so good in the
I'm
red.
playing Ruth. I like this one. But y'all, okay, so here's the backstory with Pastor Pickle Booty. So Pastor Pickles, here we go. I'm going to show. So he's running for governor. He keeps running for office. He is currently running for governor. He keeps running in the state, okay? And he loses every time. He ran for, he ran for county janitor. Then he ran for water boy. Then he ran for city council, district this, district that, district something else. He ran for others. He loses every time, okay? But what recently happened is he had a little birthday. And at his birthday, he decided he wanted to rent a hotel room. And I guess it got wild in there. And when it got wild in there, allegedly, security afterwards, they were cleaning out the room. They found a pickle. It was a pickle left in the room with a condom on it. A doo-doo smeared at the end. So it was a dookie pickle. This is a real story. I'm not joking, guys. So this is a clip from he was trying to do a live with the community to just really let the community know that they can count on him and kind of totally distance himself from this alleged controversy. This is what happened on the live when one particular caller called in.
Is this Pickle Booty? Is this who? Pickle. Pickle who? Pickle Booty. You a bitch. You know that? You a bitch. You bitch. You got my number off of Facebook. You bitch. You don't call me talking about, is this Pickle Booty? You a bitch. Who is you? Tell me who you is and what is your name. No, who is you? You bitch. You don't call my phone talking about no motherfucking Pickle Booty, bitch. Your baby daddy won. Your daddy, your granddaddy, your dad folks won. Tell me your name. No, don't tell me your name. No, tell me your name, bitch. Don't call my phone. Call me a Pickle Booty. What is?
Wait, he even goes on. That's sufficient. You get the gist. But there's more. Don't go anywhere, guys. He even proceeds to, I guess he lived with his mom and daddy. I don't know. He didn't tell his mom. He said, I'm gonna put my mom on the phone. My mama about to cuss you flat out. So then he has his mama come over by the phone. And she's like, who is this? And he was like, man, she being too nice. He's getting mad at his mom for not cussing the girl out on live for him in the way in which I guess the Lord would have cussed her out. I'm not exactly sure how that would work. Yes, this is a pastor cutting up a storm. So I was really, truly perplexed. And then I came across this. This is a follow-up video. I really need you to see. Here it is. This is him. He was so upset. He then went to the hotel where the pickle allegedly occurred. This is what he's telling them on the premises at the Pickle Hotel. Let me see. I'll make sure you can see it first. I need you to see this. Hold on. Let me remove that. Okay. I need you. This is him coming up there to defend his honor. Again, future governor of the great state of Alabama, Pastor Pickle Booty is Pastor Jamal Brown.
I'm not leaving here until I get some else. I got proof. I'll tell you, he that's what he said. That Jamaica, that work here, one of y'all security
Michael
folks.
said.
I don't even play like that. You run them cameras back. I will give you $10,000 a day if you can find a man came in my hotel room. But still, why is they trying to smear my name and lie on me? I don't like that. That shit hurts. That shit hurts. I got the fucking phone call. I don't like shit like that. No, so told me not to get no room here. I want a room for my birthday.
For his birthday.
He calling folks, telling folks it's a Pickle in Jamel room with shit in a condom on it. Y'all got to know how that make me feel. I'm fucking pissed.
Because security has no business. They don't know what's in the room.
That's why I move like I move. They want to set me up. They want to get something on me so bad to disqualify me and make me look bad, Shakandy. He ain't got no reason. It was a pickle up there. You know I had the pickle when I got drunk Saturday night. But listen, when I got drunk Saturday night, Pickle's supposed to help you get back to yourself. I put that all on Facebook.
Is that an admission?
That's why I had the pickle juice up there, the liquid IV up there, the Gatorade up there, because I was drinking for my birthday. He said it was a corner found on the pickle with shit on it, and said the mouse said you had a man in there.
And it's nobody.
I promise you, I will give you $10,000 today.
10,000? What I got to do?
To give me the video from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Oh my gosh.
This week.
Y'all, this is him. Oh my God. He did that better than me. Oh my word. Okay, wait. I need y'all to realize he acknowledged the pickle. He acknowledged the pickle. So there was a pickle in the room. He's just saying there wasn't a condom on it or there wasn't doo-doo on the condom that was. I'm not exactly sure. But hold on, we got one more clip. I need y'all to help me with this. I really need y'all. I'm ignorant, so thank you for participating with me. I'm glad that you guys are okay with this because it's been rough out here.
And I want you to get corporate on him.
He wanted corporate.
Your security guard contacted one of my brothers and said that you called him to front desk and said that y'all found a pickle in my room with a condom on it with doo-doo, and says a man was found in my room on my birthday weekend. Now, I know some of the girls that work in his office, and I want you to get corporate on him. Your security guard contacted one of my brothers and said that you called him to front desk and said that y'all found a pickle in my room with a condom on it with doo-doo, and says a man was found in my room on my birthday weekend. Now, I know some of the girls that work in his office, and I want you to get corporate on him. Your security guard.
I want to know what corporate said. I want to know what corporate said. So I just want to let you know, as bad as things are going on in your life, and I hope that they're going great, or as great as they're going, just know that at least you aren't in a pickle, covered in a condom, covered in dookie. And on that note, well, in tonight's episode, let me know down in the chat below where you watch from. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and don't forget you can always go to SimoneRedwine.com. If you're injured in an accident for a free injury consultation, just let them know you are calling about an injury case and you're calling for Simone. You can call 855-4-SIMONE, SYMONE. Love y'all. It's your legal bestie. Goodbye.